Astrea was to be the next head of the Lifebringers. This was decided upon after witnessing the talent she had, as it was seen as a blessing that Astrea was born a quasi-life energetic into a healer family. This meant that her older brother, Dolus Lifebringer, was no longer in that position. According to family custom, the most skilled child of the head would claim the title, meaning no person should have any complaints, as Dolus was known for being mediocre at healing, at least compared to the lofty expectations of the family. The time came for the inspection. Dolus asked to follow along with their father, to which he was rejected. Astrea brought along instead, despite not wishing to. They travelled to the nearby Thanasia land and entered after receiving permission from the new Thanasia head, as the previous one died of yet unrevealed causes. Entering the state, the lack of guards was strange, but neither she nor her father mentioned it, heading to the usual meeting place. Entering the main hall, she could sense many life energy vessels, abnormally many. Astrea's father stopped her, speaking gruffly. "Go, back outside. Go back to our region." And thus, Astrea was taken back, but decided to listen and left swiftly. None of the people in the room spoke. She headed back as fast as she could, but apparently that was not fast enough. When Astrea began to approach the familiar scenery, she muttered to herself how irritating the situation was, being sent alone from somewhere she had no interest in from the start. However, nearing her gate, something stopped her dead in the tracks. Screaming. Not the kind of children out playing, but the kind of a mortal injury. She ran into the state, right to the noise. She was a healer, after all, trained to help the injured. But the sight that awaited her was something she would never forget. Thanasian knights stood wielding bloody weapons over people screaming in pain on the ground. People she knew closely. She stood in shock as one of them noticed her and yelled, directing the attention of several onto her. As they began approaching and the panic heightened, she heard a familiar voice from a tree near her. She looked up to see Dolus. "Run! Into the building. I'll distract them." She heeded these words instantly, relief washing away the panic enough to allow her to move and flee. Having been cowering in the bunker for so long she lost track of all time, all the sounds outside eventually subsided. After who knows how long of waiting in silence, she heard footsteps. She holds her breath, attempting to remain hidden. Dread envelops her as she hears the door lock to be destroyed by force and the door open to reveal. "Dolus!" she cries, embracing her brother, overjoyed to see him alive and completely uninjured. "Have you seen father?" she whispers. "There were. In the building. I know." He cuts her off, his voice cold, as Astrea feels a great force acting on her neck. "What are you—" She doesn't get to finish her question as she's slammed into the wall. Held in place by her own brother's right hand, she feels cold metal pricking at her neck. "You really are stupid. You think I handled those nights by myself, with no wounds even less?" She gasps for breath as he continues monologuing. "You naive fool, to think someone like you was to be the next head. No matter. With father gone, there will be no one to decide who's next. And if the rightful heir," he spits as he says this part, "were to tragically pass away in an invasion, that would only leave one. Dolus. Me." Terror turns to rage. Through laboured breaths, Astrea chokes out, "You, traitor, will punished." Dolus begins to cackle, digging the blade in his right hand slightly deeper into Astrea's neck, a thin stream of warmth flowing past and on the dagger. "Oh, how scary! And my dearest little sister. Who's going to stop me?" He paused for a second and grins smugly upon receiving no answer. "Just as I thought. Look at you. The one who took everything from me, leaving me for dead. So weak and helpless. Pitiful, really." He leans closer to Estrella, no longer grinning but staring with fire in his eyes. So, what now? I'm taking back what's rightfully mine. What you stole. What they all wouldn't give up. He clears his throat and loosens his grip, allowing the poor asphyxiated girl to gasp for breath for a few seconds. After he seemingly collects his thoughts, he tightens his grip once more. Right. I've had my fun. I suppose you can be happy to reunite with your father in the afterlife. He raises the dagger. She feels it plunge into her neck. She feels the blood pour, the pain, the warmth. But she also feels a desire for revenge. Rage builds up inside her as she closes her eyes. Dolus speaks, but she does not hear. She no longer feels the pain. All she feels is the life energy inside her body, her mind blocking out everything else as she focuses. Normally, she must restrict the flow of this life energy. It is, after all, highly volatile and will happily transfer to someone else. But what if she didn't? What if, instead, she chose not just to open up the floodgates, but to push it through? Warmth builds up in her arm as she opens her eyes and weakly grabs Dolus's own arm, holding her against the wall. Clearly, he is taunting her right now. No matter. She doesn't care about that. The warmth keeps building and building. Warm to hot, hot to scalding to burning. Dolus notices evidently as he tries to free his hand, but it is held in place by a deceptively iron grip of the girl. His eyes shoot open as he realizes what is about to transpire, something he's never seen or heard about before. As the life energy Estrella mobilized surpassed its tipping point, Dolus watches in horror. He watches as Estrella's arm erupts into a cloud of red. He watches as his own hand shares the fate, bursting into gore. But first he feels the heat of 1,000 suns enter his hand. He feels as it is torn apart from the inside out. He feels himself fall to the ground. And finally, he sees once more. Dolus watches as a freshly crimson-adorned girl stumbles away.